Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of HFY Storytime with me, your host, the Casual Death Worlder. Before we begin, let me take a few moments to give the obligatory like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and more importantly, share this video with a friend, a family member, your priest, or that random knob on Facebook who keeps sending you unsolicited friend requests. Now, let's try and get this channel to 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. On deck today, we have The Highwaymen Part 1. By user K530, and Humans, Challenge Accepted, by user PaggyUK. The links are in the video description. Please follow them and give the authors some love and support in the form of upvotes and or comments. While you're at it, be sure to check out my Patreon channel. Consider becoming a subscriber and help keep my editor energized with pizza and beer. Seriously, he's a large part of what makes this channel work. And lastly, a quick shout out to my Tier 4 patrons, Russ of the Frozen North, Neo5AC, Nick, and Zachary Langmead. Thank you very much. Now, on with the stories. The Highwaymen Part 1 by user K530. Captain, I've got a strange signal on the scopes. What is it, Lieutenant? Captain Varl said as he walked over to the navigation station. Sir, I'm seeing a ship on an intercept course that doesn't match anything in the computer's database. It's headed our way at 4000 C. You're joking, right? Said Captain Varl as he stepped up to look at the lieutenant's terminal. Sure enough, that's what the ship had on its scopes. Well, I'll be dipped. Sound General Quarters. Let's prepare to meet this stranger. The crew of the science vessel Elop's Pride sprung into action. The alarm blared to life as the tactical station began heating up weapons and cycling shields to full power. At the same time, engineering started spooling down the FTL. After moments, Elop's Pride broke into real space with the thundering ripple of space-time. Do we still have our target? Yes, Captain Varl. They should arrive in moments. Almost before the lieutenant could finish her sentence, the mysterious ship dropped out of the highway right in front of them. Holy Elop! Varl shouted as everyone on the bridge instinctively ducked and dove out of the way, to many a colorful curse. As the crew collected themselves off the floor, the captain leaned over to whisper to Commander Vrock. What's the range on that ship? Don't tell me we all just jumped out of our skins because the view screen was left zoomed in. With a wry smile. No, sir. The unknown vessel stopped at 100 meters distance, although the view screen was at plus 10%, as you like to have it. The captain's smile faded somewhat as he gave the tactical officer an incredulous look. Comms, are you getting anything? Yes, that ship is hailing us, but I can't make any sense of it. Well then, what are you getting? Asked Varl, shaking his head inwardly. Ensign Nida was a new addition to the ship, only a few months out of advanced training from the academy, but for the life of me couldn't figure how she had managed to pass her classes and graduate with such high recommendations. Perhaps I should look into that, he thought. On speakers, Ensign Nida, if you please. She followed the order dutifully, with a flick of a switch, and they heard what the unknown ship was broadcasting. Ear-piercing, screeching noise filled the bridge. The crew, one and all, rushed to cover their respective auditory organs. The captain slapped the console, shutting off the noise. Tactical, is that some kind of attack? Captain Varl asked. No, sir, I don't believe so. I have identified several weapons ports, all of which are inactive, and I don't detect any active shielding or crew life signs. I think she's a ghost ship. Look at this damage on the hull. Obviously, she's taken quite the pounding in the past, but this almost looks like erosion from spending so much time in high wake. If I had to guess, I'd say this ship is old. Damn old. The ship indeed appeared to be as the commander described, as he put up stills on the auxiliary view screen from what his search had yielded. Any sign of a nameplate or fashion markings? This design is unlike anything I've ever seen, the captain said, as he walked back to his chair, inspecting the various ship systems. Hard dropouts, like they'd done in order to not miss this particular ship, can be very hard on the engines. Luckily, Elop's Pride took the disturbance in stride. I can see where they used some sort of external signage, but it's too faded to make anything of it, said Commander Vrock, as he put up the still frame showing that section of the hull. I can see where there used to be some sort of external signage, but it's too faded to make anything of it, said Commander Vrock, as he put up the still frame showing that section of the hull. Well then, it looks like we have something of a mystery on our hands, the captain said, slapping his hands together, rubbing greedily. Vrock, call up the away team. I think we should go say hello. He began to walk towards the door of the bridge with a pep in his step. Should I even bother stating regulation for you, sir? Vrock, second in command, said as he handed off his station and hurried to catch up to the quickly moving captain. If that would do any good, you wouldn't be following me now, would you? Chuckled the captain. No, I suppose that's true. Then again, I've been wanting to stretch my legs. That's the spirit, Varl exclaimed, clapping the man on the shoulder. We'll make a captain of you yet. And Story 2. Humans. Challenge accepted by user PaggyUK. It started as all things do, with an idea. A beautiful, creative, and spectacular idea, thought up by one of the galaxy's most insignificant creatures. A creature whose species was so stupid they launched atomic weapons at each other on their home planet. A species so dumb that as soon as they achieved spaceflight, they started fighting each other. So, when one of these humans had the idea that he could go faster in hyperspace by doing things a little different, and rather brazenly decided that the laws of physics did not apply to him, the galaxy took note and waited for the inevitable explosion and debris field. The stubborn little human wrote down his idea and published it to the galactic scientific community, and rather than the expected support and encouragement of his peers, he was widely ridiculed and on several occasions the butt of several jokes. Many scientists from across the cosmos pointed out, and quite rightly so, that it was not possible to break the laws of physics and his idea was pure lunacy, and he should try stand-up comedy. But rather than discourage him, it had the opposite effect, and furthermore, it seemed to galvanize the humans into solidarity with each other. It completely baffled the whole galaxy how telling one human he couldn't do something managed to unify their entire race. It became a matter of pride for the human race as they spent untold resources and time on perfecting the idea. Humans were seen parading around wearing t-shirts emblazoned with logos like, "Your rules, not mine," and "Go Team Break Physics," and the galaxy just shook its collective heads and sighed. Then came the day of the test. The humans proudly broadcast the event to the cosmos, and whilst the cosmos looked on with a sense of smug, I know what comes next kind of attitude, and a perverse expectation of the violent conclusion to this doomed science experiment, a few still tried to prevent the coming calamity. But the humans were not to be dissuaded, and as the original human whose idea had started this science experiment climbed into the cockpit of the test ship, the humans proudly patted each other on the back and clapped. As he accelerated to hyperspace, the ship's engines bellowing out quite an impressive level of power, the ship seemed to blink out of existence. The explosion that followed completely atomized the little ship. There was absolute stunned silence from the humans, and then panic as they tried to signal the ship. The galaxy looked on bemused. The pilot of the ship and the very ship itself were now atoms, and one with the galaxy. After several "I told you so" from several alien species and more than a few smirks from even more alien races, the humans held an inquiry into what they called the accident. And in fairness to the humans, it was very thorough and unbiased. The humans did not seem afraid to place blame for the tragedy on themselves. But in an exasperating twist, despite admitting the fault was theirs, it only seemed to spur them on to try again, this time with unmanned ships. Each time they tried, the same result. It became a joke to the galaxy. But to the humans, failure spurred them on to try something different, to take a different approach. It was amusing and inspiring at the same time. Several decades passed and the galaxy started to worry. The humans had become obsessed. The resources the humans had put into this science project were incalculable. True, the humans had expanded tenfold, and since unifying they had become completely self-sufficient in a way no other race could hope to match. But their fascination with breaking the speed barrier was quite frankly terrifying. The galaxy watched as humans tried one thing, and when that failed, they tried something else, never appearing to run out of crazy ideas or half-baked notions they toiled on. With each setback, they would learn, and new technologies would be created. The speed with which they were developing was truly shocking. The ridiculing of humanity for their multiple failures and inability to listen slowly stopped by the other races, as where once they had looked on with pity and sometimes the usual smug laughter, it had turned to awe and a grudging respect. One insane idea decades previously had galvanized an entire species from being insignificant nobodies to the most talked about race in the galaxy. And what was more amazing, was that even though humanity had become these crazy, lunatic, mad scientists, they still took the time to take part in galactic events, shared their many technological breakthroughs with the rest of the galaxy, and never once turned anyone down when they needed help. When the plague of Atarax Prime broke out, the humans turned their scientists from the pursuit of going faster to finding a cure. And whilst humanity was not able to find that cure in record time, the collective minds of humanity not only discovered a vaccine, but also managed to find a way to negate the plague effects, saving billions of lives and allowing millions of infected to live out their lives in relative comfort. And when the Charlexian Civil War finally came to its bitter conclusion and their homeworld was a smoking wasteland, humans turned their minds to creating machines which cleansed the atmosphere of poisons, rejuvenated the soil, provided medical care, and even rebuilt their cities. And even when the Zarath declared war on the humans simply turned their attention to building ships and weapons, the likes of which the galaxy had never seen before, and within a year the Zarath had sued for peace. But with every tragedy that the humans helped solve, and with every situation they found themselves in, once they turned their collective minds to the problem, it was solved in record time. And as soon as it was solved, they would go straight back to solving the original insane bright idea of going faster in hyperspace. Now it was 50 years since the first attempt at going faster. The humans are again making another attempt. It had become an event of sorts in the galaxy now, betting on how long the ship would last before it inevitably exploded. And as the ship accelerated toward hyperspace, the galaxy once again feverishly started betting. There was the inevitable flash, but instead of an explosion, there sat the human ship, intact and somehow looking older. The galaxy was stunned. What had just happened? The human scientists, after a shocked couple of seconds, immediately started whooping and cheering, hugging each other and in many cases breaking down in tears of relief. The galaxy looked on as the humans immediately began planning for a manned test. Scientists from numerous races immediately began asking the question, what the hell did they just do? The humans, rather than being smug, invited those very same scientists who once ridiculed them to join in the research and development, sharing their idea and results with everyone. What had once been a human obsession now became the galaxy's first collective science project. In a mere couple of years since the successful test, an entirely new form of space travel had been developed, which the humans shared willingly with everyone. A journey which would have taken months to complete could now be done in mere hours. Humans had completely undone the laws of physics by stubbornly not giving up. And now, when an idea is put forward, no matter how batshit crazy it is, the galaxy ponders the idea and looks at the possibilities, instead of just dismissing it. And the humans, well, they were asked what now that their collective great work was complete. After what they termed as a well-earned vacation, they started on their next great project, and when they were asked what that was, the humans simply turned around and said, making an actual edible pot noodle. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am the Casual Death Worlder, your host. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our stories. If you did, please go ahead and drop us a like or a comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, a huge shout out to my editor, Gregor. Thank you very much, buddy. I could not do this without you. So I guess the question for the day would be, what did you think of the first story, the Highwaymen? Do you think it's worth my continuing? Leave your comments in the question. Leave your answers in the comments down below. Until next time, be safe, be well. I love you all. Bye-bye.